Hello everybody, I am Liz and today I'm going to do a review on Autoboyography by the awesome author duo-ship Christina Lauren. Their individual names are Christina Hobbs and Lauren Billings, and I know when I have been talking about this book I've been very conflicted about my reviews for it because as much as I enjoyed the content, I gobbled it up in one day, in one sitting. There was a lot of things to unpack, to think about, and to ultimately decide on how negatively it impacted my feelings and thoughts on the story. So I must preface this by saying there are trigger warnings for homophobia and biphobia in the story, so be wary going in. I think that it was very tasteful even though they're triggers, because it really tackles these biphobia and homophobia notions and thoughts and feelings and all the bisexual stereotypes. It really tackles them and addresses them in such a great way that I really appreciated. Now, the synopsis of this story is our senior in high school, Tanner, decides to take this seminar class to learn how to write a novel in one school semester. Now, he lives in Provo, Utah, where the majority of this city, 90% of individuals that live in Provo, happen to be a part of the LDS faith. Now, Tanner is bisexual, and he moved to Provo 2 years prior, out and proud in California, but now living in a conservative, not quite anti-LGBT area, but very wary of LGBT people. And so he decides to keep his sexuality a secret, especially on the behest of his parents, who do not want him to be bullied or negatively stereotyped due to his sexuality. And so all of this matters, all of his sexuality hush-hush and everything gets disrupted when the TA, or teacher's assistant, of this seminar writing class is Sebastian. He is this college student who had huge amounts of success the previous year in the seminar class. He's about to be a famous published author, and he's very attractive, especially to Tanner, who is smitten right away. And so obviously his secrets are threatened, as well as the fact that Sebastian is a bishop's son, a very devout member of the LDS faith, and as homosexual attraction, especially acting upon homosexual attraction, is frowned upon and a very serious issue within the LDS faith. Now, as I've said before, the bi and gay representation in this story was phenomenal. I loved it so much. The way Tanner goes about explaining and contradicting bisexual stereotypes and really just confronts some of these forefront issues with his gay relationship with Sebastian was just perfect. I absolutely adored it. It was so much pushback on stereotypes and homophobia and biphobia. It was stellar. However, the way Tanner's parents handled his sexuality, I felt like that was very off base. That was one of my issues with the story, is because it says and claims that they were completely supportive of him. However, they push him into the closet by telling him not to come out to his friends. It's a huge conflict to Tanner in the book. He doesn't know how to come out because he doesn't know if he should. He doesn't want to be viewed in that negative light, even though he really does want to come forward and come out to his friends. It was a huge conflict of the story, and I felt like it was highly unnecessary because it wouldn't have been a conflict if his parents had been open and understanding and allowed him to come out when he wanted to on his own terms. Now we have the LDS or Mormon representation, which I also thought was done real well. I live in Utah. I don't live in Provo. I live in the Salt Lake area, which has still a very high percentage of the LDS faith. I think it's about 50% of the Salt Lake area is of the LDS faith. So it's still a very high number. And I was surrounded by those in the LDS faith as an elementary suburbia student. I was a practicing member of the LDS faith growing up as a child. Now I have since left the church and renounced my status in it. I am not a member, and I have my own rhymes and reasons for walking away. And as I have a lot of experience within the church and within the Utah stereotypes, Utah society, as a lot of Utah's society is built upon the LDS faith, I really felt for everything going in. I felt like it was very accurate, done very well. It does help that Christina Hobbs was actually a school counselor in Utah, so she also knows a lot about it. And then Lauren Billings is bisexual, so that's also where that bisexual rep hits. And so those were the very strong parts of this story, was definitely the gay representation and also the LDS representation. The LDS culture and Utah culture was done very, very well, and I absolutely love that about the story. Apart from its flaws of the parents' acceptance, there was a specific plot with Tanner and his best friend Autumn that I was very against because I didn't think it was wrapped up appropriately, and it was wrapped up too conveniently for my liking. This happens towards the end of the book, so I obviously can't spoil anything with you with that. And another thing is, even though the setting and the plot was done very well to me, I thought that the characters, apart from really Sebastian and Tanner and kind of Autumn, everyone else was very two-dimensional. And so all the side characters were not very well hashed out, and I could have liked that a lot more, was seeing more of the side characters instead of just Tanner and Sebastian. There was also a huge typo mistake on page 170. They were at Sebastian's house, but it said Tanner's parents, and I was really, really irritated and irked by that because, and it could have been my copy. It could have definitely been my copy that did that. But the fact that it was in there after it's been published and it was a huge typo, I felt like that's a really big disservice, especially when it's a book that's been super hyped and super well published. So overall, this was a very cute, if not complicated, YA romance. And there is insta-love in this story, but they do address it as Tanner says that he has never felt such a quick attraction to somebody ever, and he even makes fun of it. And so I definitely appreciated a lot of this story, bearing its faults. Now we're gonna get to the end of my review for this story, so we're going to talk about my favorite quote, and that, my friends, is on page 20, and it really tackles how Tanner really feels about his bisexuality, and it's really this inner conflict he feels, which I definitely second, as I was a teenager dealing with my bisexuality, and so I definitely felt for this quote, and it really resonated with me. It says, "There's the devil on one shoulder, the ignorant perception that I get from all sides, both inside and outside the queer community, who say bisexuality is really about indecision, that it's impossible for bisexuals to be satisfied with one person and that the label is a way to not commit. And then there's the angel on the other shoulder who the queer positive books and pamphlets encourage me to believe, saying that no, what it means is I'm open to falling in love with anyone. I'm happy to commit, but the specific parts don't matter as much as the person." And so obviously this story has some really great LGBT themes with a cute gay teen romance, and it also has a lot of expectations from family and religion all smashed together, and how it impacts youth and how it either strives them to be a better person or maybe not be a better person, how to live their true selves or to shy away from their true selves. So a comparable story I chose is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Lear Sines. I felt like it was very fitting as, like this book, it really does fit into culture expectations, family expectations, and really just LGBT, particularly gay themes, and how you're trying to come out but you quite haven't come out to yourself yet. And so I felt like it was also very fitting, very similar, as it is also a cute teen romance story. And so there we have my review of Autoboyography by the duoship Christina Lauren. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope it gave you some really great non-spoilery insight into Autoboyography if you haven't read it yet. And if you have, please let me know in the comments down below what you think of this story, if you liked it or didn't like it, what you thought of it, what was your favorite scene in the book, and so on. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and be notified to the rest of my videos and content if you wish to do so. And I post every Tuesday and Friday, so I hope to see your guys' wonderful faces again, as I would love to hear from you. I love your support, your interaction, your comments, and thoughts and feelings. So until next time, remember that I love you guys. Bye!